Willie D Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you represent. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the like, smash up the like, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. I let a few hundred of y'all come in, then I'm going in. But in the meantime, in the between time, I'm give some quick shout outs to the early birds, starting with dun, dun, dun. The Wigs, Arthur Higgs. What it do? PYT. Chris 1974 Chevy. What's up, Mobile, Alabama? I am Talia Israel. What it do? Rob win now. See Rob win now. What up? Summer Breezy Lee, Los Angeles checking in. Tampa, I see you. I see you, Tony. I see you. Who is that? Please yet? Baltimore. ATX is in the building. Brad Patterson. Arkansas checking in. Old school 1589. What it do? David Owens. San Antonio, Texas. Going straight on in, fam. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot to cover here. We got, wait a minute, what happened to my stories here? Hold on. What happened? Let me see what's going on. Something's going on. Okay, here we go. Man, I don't know what it is with all of the hate against Shedeur Sanders. I guess I know what it is, but it's really disgusting. It makes absolutely no sense to me for people who claim to be civilized to behave in such an erroneous manner. So we got ESPN, we got a whole network being accused of hating on Shedeur Sanders and undermining his career. Yeah, ESPN. A whole network hating on a youngster just trying to do his job. Yeah, fam. And you wonder why there's such a big connect in the youth and their respect for elders. Yeah. Some of these people that's up in age, they deserve the ire of the youth. They deserve everything they get, the uncivilized mutts. We also have a woman who was shot 10 times by her uncivilized mutt boyfriend. Shot 10 times by a man who she was intimate with, who she lied next to and closed her eyes. Yeah. Then we got a couple out in Virginia who was discriminated against by employees at Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wing employees, even when they work minimum wage, they think they're better. They still think they're better. I think that was Franklin D. Roosevelt had something to say about that. But let's get started. Let's get started with this guy right here. This guy right here, man. Donald Trump has been taking a lot of L's lately. And today, fam, he takes another L. This is a big L for him. This might be the biggest L that he's taken since he's reclaimed the White House. And if you follow the story, you'll catch my drift. You'll pick up what I'm putting down. Let's go over here. First of all, this story came from a Mediaite. So let's go, let's check out the story right here. A Florida judge granted motions to dismiss the Guardian and other defendants in a defamation lawsuit filed by Truth Social's parent company, Truth Media and Technology Group Corp., otherwise known as TMTG. the latest example of President Donald Trump's legal actions against media companies not holding up in court. I'm going to go ahead and pause, fam. I ain't got no problem with that. The dispute arose from two articles published by the UK-based Guardian in March 2023, reporting on a federal criminal investigation related to TMTG's receipt of two payments totaling $8 million. Judge Hunter Carroll of the 12th Judicial Circuit Court for Sarasota County wrote in his order summarizing the case, including reports that the federal prosecutors in New York were conducting a money laundering investigation related to the payments, which were wired through the Caribbean from Paxum Bank and ES Family Trust entities with ties to an ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin, and a history of providing banking services to the sex worker industry, and that the origins of the loans caused alarm at TMTG and TMTG's then CFO Wade returning the money. But the money was ultimately not returned. You know, they ain't giving back no money. Anybody coming up under Trump administration, man, they take money. They don't give money. They'll promise to give money, but ain't nobody getting nothing. You ain't getting nothing. Get that through your thick skull. You ain't getting nothing from the Trump administration. If he gives you something, it is because he's going to take a whole lot more from you. Whatever you give up, it's going to cost you. The Guardian article was cited by other media outlets, including an article in the Sarasota Herald Tribune. TMTG used the Guardian, the Herald Tribune, and two reporters whose bylines were on the articles, arguing that the articles were false and defamatory, insisting that TMTG is not and never was under investigation for money laundering, and TMTG and its executives have not been the focus of any investigation. TMTG acknowledged it was a public figure, the judge wrote, meaning any defamation complaint would have to establish actual malice and finding that the plaintiff had failed to do so, specifically invoking Florida's anti-SLAPP statute, which provides expedited process and monetary remedies, including attorney fees to defendants when they can show that a lawsuit against them was without merit and primarily because such person or entity has exercised the constitutional right of free speech in connection with a public issue or right to peaceful assembly, to instruct representatives of government, or to petition for redress of grievances before the various governmental entities of this state as protected by the First Amendment. Merely reporting on, this is important now, this is important for all of you because some of y'all get caught up in this stuff online. Merely reporting on negative information is not enough to establish actual malice, the judge's opinion noted, and establishing actual malice requires more than a departure from journalistic standards or a mere failure to investigate. Well, that fixes a lot of things online. This tea has a lot of pulp. So if y'all see some pulp on my lip, just give me a little something, give me a little nudge and say, Will, check yourself. So Donnie here took an L. This is a big L, and I'm going to tell you why this L is so big. This is why the L is significant. This L is significant because it puts Trump on notice that he's not going to be able to steamroll over everybody who reports the news about him, even if that news is not really truthful. You can't just sue people just because they said something bad about you. And everything is not defamation of character. Sometimes news people do get erroneous information. They get bad information and they report it. But once they do, if they discover that the information that they put out there is false, then the onus is on them to make a retraction. And so if they do that, then they're supposed to be all right. But with Trump, he will threaten people to, even if you are being truthful, even if the information is true, I'm still coming after you because I just don't like you talking my business. I don't like y'all talking about me like that. So I'm coming for you. So that's the mentality that he has. And you saw what he did with Jimmy Kimmel. He threatened Jimmy Kimmel's job. He threatened Jimmy so hard that ABC took him off the air for a few days. Gayle King lost her job at the top of the year. I believe she's supposed to leave her job at CBS. Remember, Don, she came in the crosshairs of Donnie, and he started calling for her resignation. He started saying she needs to be fired. Actually, it wasn't a resignation. He was saying she needs to be fired. And next thing you know, Gayle King is being demoted. They say that she's still with the company, CBS, and she's working in some capacity with CBS Morning or something like that. Well, not the morning show anymore, but one of the shows and all that type of stuff. But that's how they get rid of you. They first demote you and they tell you, well, you're still with the company. Then they put you in some type of position where you can't really flourish. And they already know when somebody is a morning anchor, if they go from being like a top dog to being in a position where they really don't have any real power and the money ain't even the same, they're not getting the same type of shine that they're used to getting. They know that that person is going to look elsewhere. They're going to move on. That's one of the ways that they mitigate monetary liability. They kind of like make you fire yourself. We're not going to fire you. We don't want those lawsuits. We don't want those problems. We're not going to fire you, but we're going to make it so hard on you that you're going to wish you was fired. You're going to want to quit. And that's what they pretty much did. They forced her to quit. Some of you have been on jobs like that where your supervisor or your manager forced you to quit. They was like, no, we're not going to fire him. We're not going to fire her because that might open us up to some type of liability. We might be on the hook for some paper. But if we just kind of make them uncomfortable, ride their coattail a little bit, just make it difficult for them to come to work and do their job. Maybe we'll give them more work than we know that they can handle. And then when they can't deliver, we'll write them up. We'll complain about it, right? That's one of the oldest tactics they do. They'll give you more work than they know you can handle. And then they'll blame you for not being able to deliver in time. Next thing you know, you're like overwhelmed. You're popping pills. You can't get no sleep. They got you going to the therapist. You're taking antidepressants. That happens all the time. I can't stand bully employers. I can't stand the managers, the supervisor. I can't stand none of those people that's in those positions of power like that. And I'm gonna tell you something else, fam. One of the reasons why a lot of these people are bullies because they were bullied themselves. Sometimes these guys will come in on an even from as an intern. They get bullied from the time they hit the door as an intern, and they get bullied so much they develop Stockholm syndrome, and they start actually bullying others who are subordinate to them. That's the game. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah. So yeah, they want you to quit right. Because if you quit also, they don't have to pay you unemployment. You did? So that's what that's why they move the way that a lot of these companies move the way that they move. And Donald Trump, he's been able to bully like media like never before. I've never seen anybody bully media so effectively. But even more than bullying the media, he's been able to bully judges. But that's because he got a lot of these judges in his pocket. He got a lot of these judges in his pocket. But they're starting to rule against him. See, this is how you take down Goliath. This is how you take down a bully. Let's go back to one of the greatest sitcoms ever created that produced one of the greatest bullies ever created and also produced one of the greatest Davids ever created. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Friday. Friday with Debo and Craig. Get up, Craig. Get up. Man, R.I.P. John Witherspoon. R.I.P. John Witherspoon, man. Good Lord, that man is missed. His presence is missed. You know, just the man just light up a room. It could light up a scene, light up a whole entire movie. Good Lord. Yeah, John Witherspoon was telling Cube, get up, Craig. Go on, Craig, get him. Yeah, man. Friday is easily one of the greatest movies ever created. And as far as I know, nobody got killed in Friday. You know what I mean? Just a classic hood movie, right? Classic hood movie. Classic movie. Classic movie. Yeah. But anyway, fam, going back to Trump. I'm connecting the Trump to the Friday movie as far as like toppling the bully, right? Once you topple the bully, people look around and say, oh, so he's not invincible. So he can get whooped too. Oh, so, okay. And then next thing you know, people start standing up to the bully and the bully loses power. The bully power is only as strong as the people he bullies allow him to be. He's not what most people think he is. So all you have to do is stand up to the bully and deliver a blow just as hard. In fact, deliver a blow that's even harder. And usually the bully go scurrying away. Just like if you were like to, walk up on a dog barking. A dog typically will watch you. Before a dog immediately starts attacking, he'll kind of watch, and he stood up, and he's looking, he's watching, he's like, and if he senses that fear, and you turn, try to run, he come after you. And then sometimes you got the dogs who are instinctively will come after you once they see you. But if they see you stand there and pick up something and be ready to bust their ass in the head, they stop, they slow their asses down. Because who wants to just run right up and get clubbed across the head? Who that stupid? Just gonna keep on running. You got a big old ass club waiting to bust them smooth in the head. And they're gonna keep on running up there. Most people ain't that dumb. Most animals are not that dumb. They're gonna, wait a minute. This he ain't playing. You got to stand up to bullies, man. You can't let nobody bully you. You got to stand up to them. These judges are finally getting some balls. Appreciate that, hand. These judges are finally getting some balls. They're starting to rule against him consistently. The trip part about it is most of the stuff that he's bringing forward to these judges, most of these motions and lawsuits are frivolous. Almost every single one of them are frivolous. And they're not, it's really like a waste of time. It's supposed to be a waste of time and a waste of the taxpayers' dollars, but he scared them so much. He got them so shook that they're afraid to rule against him. He got these judges so shook, they're afraid to rule against him. He got members of Congress so shook, they're afraid to vote against him. He got governors so shook that they're afraid to vote against him. He even got Democratic governors shook. Let me tell you something, fam. I seek peace. I would rather have peace than unrest. I would rather have peace than conflict because conflict is costly. Even if you win, you might lose. Conflict is costly. So I would rather have peace than conflict. However, if it's going down, let's get it over with. If it's going down, let's get it over with. If it's going to be, let it be. And I'm going to come with everything I got. Once I know it's on, it's on. It's on, it's on. Ain't no plea. I'm not going to sit up and try to negotiate with you and all that stuff. Once I know it's on, hey, man, hey, it's on. Ain't no plea bargaining, none of that. It's on. It's on, it's on. Once it's on. Now, again, I'm going to try to avoid it. But once it's on, it's on. And I am going to be as aggressive about holding my ground, standing my ground, and punishing my opponent as anybody you've ever met in your life. I'm going to be very aggressive. So I don't understand how people can bow down to a man who's going to die. I could see if he was immortal, if he wouldn't die, if he wasn't going to die, if he didn't have a death date, I was like, man, I'm scared of that dude. That dude's spooky, kind of spooky. He's, man, you don't want to mess with him, man. He never died. He can't, no matter what happens, you can't use nothing on him. You can't use nothing against him. Knives and guns and sticks and bricks and none of that stuff works, man. You can't even hit him with a nuclear bomb. He's invincible. Now that's different. But the thing is, funny thing about that is, I've never met a man like that in my life. I've never known a man like that in my life. Only in cartoons, only in fictional stories do they make men like that. But we talking about a flesh and blood human being being afraid of that? Nah, hell nah. Nah. Uh-uh. Even if I was doubtful of the outcome, I would give it everything I got anyway, because I just don't know how to be a coward. And I just wouldn't be comfortable looking into the mirror knowing that another man actually punked me, owned me, made me afraid. Like I can't live with that. Couldn't live with it. These guys have positions. They're judges. They're in rule of other people's lives on a daily basis. They're making decisions that affects people's lives on a daily basis. You know, they have the power to give people a life sentence, 100 years, 5 years, probation, whatever they feel like doing, they can do it. They have way too much latitude. But when it comes to Trump, they don't use it. They'll use it on us, but when it comes to Trump, they don't use it. Remember, the judge was afraid to hold Trump in contempt of court. Every time he left the courtroom, he was talking bad about the judge, talking bad about the prosecutor, and never once was held in contempt of court, didn't spend 1 day in jail, 34 convictions. No person in the history of the United States and probably the world has ever had 34 convictions and didn't spend 1 day in jail. 1 day. He didn't spend 1 day in jail. So when you get away with stuff like that, you get away with it like that, that only emboldens you. And I can see how it might spook some people. Yeah, they're scared of the big bad wolf. Connie Hodge. What's up, Connie? What it do? Yeah, so this was a good decision. This, I'm telling you, fam, this is big. This is bigger than what you might imagine. This is really big because this will continue to set. The precedence has already been set because other judges have ruled against him. But this is a big one for the media. This is big for the media. It lets the people in the media know, okay, we can go out here and do our job without fear of retribution from him. We can actually, if he does something bad, if his companies get caught up in a scandal, if his employees get caught up in a scandal, we can actually report on them without fear of retribution. You know, we can really exercise this thing called freedom of press, freedom of the press. We can actually do that. So this is a good thing. And it could mark the beginning of the end of Trump's grip on the media and controlling the media's pen. Shedeur Sanders. Let's get into that. Y'all know I've been rocking with Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders. Well, I've been rocking with Deion Sanders since he came into the league. Actually, before he came into the league, when he was in, I think Deion was at FSU. But I was rocking with Deion way back then. But then he came into the league, and man, Deion Sanders was much watched TV. He got his name. That name he got, he earned that nickname. Now, Shedeur got a nickname after winning that game against the Las Vegas Raiders. They gave him a nickname. They calling him Showtime Shedeur, after delivering a win for the Cleveland Browns. I think it was a 20-10 win Sunday. So salute to Shedeur for making the best of his opportunity we knew that the pressure would be tremendous, but most of us were comfortable that Shedeur would be able to handle the pressure because he's really is built for that. It's in his DNA. You have to really think about how much pressure he was under. It's one thing to be under pressure, it being your first NFL start. That's a lot of pressure. You don't hardly get any reps in practice, but now you're getting your first NFL start. You've been, first of all, you was projected to go number 1 in the NFL draft. You slipped all the way down to 144, not because of your performance or your lack thereof, not because you went out and committed a crime, not because you got on social media and pulled your clothes off, or what, he didn't do anything that would warrant him losing his spot, that would legally warrant him losing his spot as a number 1 draft pick or a first round draft pick, right? His only sin was his bloodline. He's not being criticized. He wasn't punished for anything he did. He wasn't punished for the sins of his father. He was punished for the wins of his father. Because you got uncivilized mutts in the NFL and affiliated with the NFL who still have a slave owner type mentality. And the last thing that they need is one of these big old black men with muscles and all of this courage on the football field to extend that courage, that bravado off the football field. Can't have that. Now, if he's white, he's out of sight. He's right on time. It's all good, man. But him being black, nah, because deep down inside, a lot of those owners, they really are racist. Some people say, well, they can't be that racist, man. They letting the black ball players play for them. They want to win. They want to put asses in the seats. They want to make money. They ain't got no choice but to hire black athletes. 70% of the NFL is black. If those owners could replace that 70% with 100% white, they would. They would do the exact same thing that their corporate counterparts do. They hire mostly white people, point blank period. Doesn't matter what discipline it is. It doesn't matter what field it is. They hire mostly whites. Even if you look at the NFL and you look at the executive side, now you look at who's on the field, it's mostly black. But if you look at the executive side, they're hiring mostly white people. And that is because they can get away with that. You see, they can get away with, they can find more black people to fill those positions. They can make those executive positions more balanced if they wanted to. You can find a whole lot more people of any race who can go into an executive position and do the job, because the executive position don't require any physicality. It only requires memory and in some cases, critical thinking, and that's it. And if you follow a system, you just have to be You just have to have a lot of common sense, with just common sense. And oftentimes, if you have common sense, you can step right into an executive role. You don't have to even be brilliant. You can step into an executive role if you have common sense. You can step into an executive role and do the job, because all of these positions on the executive side are part of a system. And if you step into a system, you can be taught the system. All you got to do is go in, and somebody is there to teach you the system. And learning the system is simply brain memory. That's it. Now, of course, like I said, there are some positions that require some critical thinking, right? But those positions can be filled also by many people of different colors, but they hiring people who they're comfortable with in those positions. If they could make the players on the field 100% white, they would be, or at least 90%, 95%, they'd be white. They're not doing the players any type of favor out of the goodness of their heart. They're not hiring black players out of the goodness of their hearts. They're hiring black players because they are the best at what they do. They are the absolute best, and they can't do better. See, as an athlete, it's very difficult to hide your talents. You're either good or you're not. And it's going to show once you get on that court, once you get on that field. It's going to show. You're either good or you're not. Same thing with boxing. Once you get in the ring, you either got it or you don't, and it's going to show. So ain't no nepotism when it comes to winning championships. You don't get to win a championship because your daddy won a championship. You're going to have to be on a damn good team. You're going to have to be a kick-ass player. You got to be a bad boy to win a championship. Yeah, you're going to have to be part of a system to win a championship. You got to have a good team, and that's going to be able to show. That's why athletics are so popular, because people know that in many cases, at least many cases, the best of the best is being presented. Whereas if you look at some of these companies, even when you look at the US government, how Trump has put his friends who have no knowledge of the positions that they're in, he put them in positions to win. He stuck them into a system. You're going to take this job, and we know you don't know nothing about it, but this is such and such. She'll teach you everything you need to know, and da-da-da. And you just do this, do this, do this, do that. And you just go out there and make a good statement, and da-da-da-da. And after you get done, we'll come back and we'll write the speech for you. We'll tell you what to say. We'll tell you what to go. We'll plan everything, da-da-da. We'll tell you who to talk to, who you can't talk to, and all. It's a system. So it's easy to put people in systems. It's easy to put people in systems because you have other people who can tell them what to do, who can guide them and make sure that they stay on track. Look at how many companies out there that have dope fiends who are in the family that's on the payroll. They got a dope fiend on the payroll. How do they get away with it? They got a system, and they're looking at numbers. And they put people in place to make sure that they're going to feed you with a long spoon, and they're going to make sure that you don't destroy the business. So they're looking at the numbers at all times. And let's say they got a dope fiend in the family and he on the clock. They're going to put the dope fiend in the mail room. They're going to give him a title. He'll be chief male extraordinaire or something. And, he'll give him a title, or they'll put him somewhere where he can't really hurt anybody. He's not going to any of the major meetings because ain't no telling when he's going to start drooling. So he's not going to be at the top major meetings. Maybe they'll make him a talent coordinator or something. Give him a job at the foundation or something like that. Somewhere where he can't hurt the bottom line. That's what they do. That's how they do it. So, but ESPN has been writing hit piece after hit piece after hit piece on Shedeur Sanders. They have been really trying to undermine his success. I want to read to you an article in Yahoo Sports where ESPN is facing some backlash, because of their reports, their bias reports against Shedeur Sanders. Let's get over here. We're going to do it like this, do it like that, and share screen. Here we go. So you see, ESPN faces backlash for embarrassing Shedeur Sanders' decision. 9 weeks, and this is an older article, so try to keep up. 9 weeks have already been played in the NFL season, and yet Shedeur Sanders still has not made his debut for the Cleveland Browns. Despite his lack of playing time, however, the 23-year-old quarterback remains one of the most fascinating figures in football. Even though he has not played a single snap as a professional, Sanders is still the talk of the town. This is exactly why ESPN is now facing some backlash as they continue to shine the spotlight on the former Colorado Buffaloes star. One former employee has already decided to publicly criticize the network for this decision. After an incredible senior year in Colorado that saw him, among other things, secure the 2024 Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, Sanders fell all the way to the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Despite being a potential first-round prospect at one point, no team in the league was willing to use their picks in the first rounds on the son of NFL legend Deion Sanders. The Browns eventually scooped Sanders up as the 144th overall pick. However, it is clear that Sanders has not done enough to prove to head coach Kevin Stefanski that he is ready to make his debut. Former ESPN analyst Trey Wingo recently made an appearance on 92.3 The Fans, the Ken Carman Show. Wingo, who formerly hosted SportsCenter, NFL Live, and Golic and Wingo on ESPN, came on the show to discuss the Browns and their current standing in the NFL. This ultimately led the veteran sportscaster to touch on the Sanders situation. Wingo said he immediately regretted bringing up the subject of Sanders. The show's co-host, Anthony Lima, praised Wingo for playing the role of media ombudsman with Your Old Place before asking Wingo to share his thoughts on ESPN having daily debates about the 4th string quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Wingo did not hold back. It was embarrassing, he said. They did it because they knew his name would resonate, create some sort of frothing at the mouth when it was based on nothing. There's nothing to suggest that A, he's going to be terrible, or B, he's going to be great. We don't have any data. So it's all just guesswork. It's all just opinions, and opinions are like noses and buttholes. Everybody has one. for what it's worth, I don't have to read that, but yeah, but for what it's worth, Shedeur Sanders has been promoted to the starting quarterback since the other guy, Dylan, got injured. He's on the sidelines with a concussion. So right now, the job is Shedeur's to have. If Shedeur continues to perform right now, if he goes out and handles his business, he's the man. The job is his. If he goes out and handles his business, the job is his. So all he has to do is continue to play well. And he has a reference point. He can go look at what Tom Brady did when he got an opportunity after he replaced Drew Bledsoe. When Drew Bledsoe got injured, Tom Brady stepped in and took it to the house. He never gave that job up, and he said he went in there with that mindset that I'm not giving this job back. Tom Brady was like, I'm not giving the job back. So it's on Shedeur now to just show up and show out. Hopefully the line will hold up. If that line holds up and give him time to throw, he's going to be okay. If the line folds, then he's going to have problems. But that's the only thing in the NFL. It's just like college ball. If a quarterback don't have a decent line, it don't matter how good he is. He's going to get eaten alive, especially in the pros. There's some bad boys out there on that field in the pros. Them boys is bad. They are the baddest of the baddest, and they are strong. And them boys come running, man, that impact is like getting hit by a car going 20, 30 miles an hour. Those boys will tear your head off out there. So he needs time to throw the ball. And he got to be protected, because if he's not protected, he could end up on the sideline like Dylan. He can end up on the side like he can end up on the sideline like Dylan. And that would be no good, because not only will his play be bad, but he'll mess around and get himself injured. And that's the last thing that he needs, or anybody needs. I know I don't want to see him get injured. I need him to be healthy, stay healthy. I think if he stays healthy and the line holds up, he'll make something happen. He knows that this is it. He knows that the next shot may not come. He knows it. If he goes out there and show up and show out, it's over for him. The thing that I don't like is there's so many vices in place to undermine his success. There's so many people that are in powerful positions that are rooting for his failure. They really want this boy to fail. And all he ever did was be born. All he ever did was be born and be good at what he do. They're punishing him for the wins of his father, not the sins of his father, but the wins of his father. Because all Deion Sanders ever did was win, win, win. The NFL should be kissing Deion Sanders' ass, because Deion Sanders made them a whole lot of money. He made them a lot of money. And I don't remember Deion Sanders being a bad guy when he played football. I don't ever remember Deion Sanders being a bad guy. I don't remember Deion Sanders breaking any laws, breaking any rules, swinging on women, none of that. I don't remember none of that with Deion. All I remember is Deion taking it to the house. Taking it to the house and having fun, playing the game that he loved. That's what I remember about Deion Sanders. And how he made the impossible possible. When Deion Sanders touched that football, every single time he touched that football, you thought he was going to score. Just like when Michael Jordan touched that ball, you always thought he was going to score. When Deion Sanders touched that football, and he was playing defense mostly, you thought he was going to score. When he ran that ball back, anytime they kicked that ball to him, you thought he was going to score. He was that exciting. Even when he didn't score, it was just running the ball back. Even if he didn't gain but 10 yards, it was a highlight reel because he was so flashy with it. He made it entertaining. He didn't just run it back. He made it entertaining. And the youngster got some of those same ways. He make it entertaining. He don't just throw the ball down and win and just be like, yeah, good. No, he put it in your face. Now, he's not as flashy as Deion was, but he's still exciting to watch. These dudes, these guys, if these guys were white, man, these guys would be celebrated beyond celebrated. I mean, they'd be all over him. All of the brands be clamoring for him. He'd have so many brand endorsements lined up. It would be crazy. All of this is a result of racism in America, the uncivilized mutts at work. And he got some uncivilized mutts right there in the Cleveland Browns organization that's trying to undermine his success. They're right there in the Cleveland Browns organization also. I don't trust none of them. I don't trust them. If they didn't believe in him, why did they draft him? He's a commodity. Look, man. Oh, he's still there? Look, you know what? We got our quarterbacks, but damn, he's still here. It's like a bargain price, you know. At the very least, man, we can get some views or we get something. Everybody be excited about watching him, and maybe they'll watch to see if he's going to play, and we can sell some T-shirts and woo. You know what? And then you got those sickos that'll be like, let's just get him so we can control him. Yeah, they do that. Let's just get him so we can control him. Let's pick him so we can control him. Let's get him so we can tell him what to do. Where to be, when to be there. Yeah, all of that. I don't trust them. I don't trust the Cleveland Browns organization at all. I don't trust the other NFL teams either for not picking them. I don't trust none of their asses. None of them. I've been beefing with the NFL since Kaepernick started kneeling. I'm beefing. Yeah, I'm still beefing. With him. And I haven't watched the whole NFL game since Kaepernick started kneeling. I haven't set the clock, and I haven't seen a kickoff. I haven't even seen a kickoff since all those years. Even when the Super Bowl comes, I don't even be like paying attention. I don't even know who in the Super Bowl till the game come on. I'm sick of their asses. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of all of them. I don't like how they do the young brothers, man. I don't like how they do them young brothers, man. And I got it, man. You know, these dudes that played the game their entire life. They don't know, they young. All they know is that they're super, super talented. And this is what they do. This is their gift. And, who am I to tell them to don't play the game? Don't pursue, your dream. Who am I to say something like that? I just hope that when they go in, that they get more out of the game than they give to the game. I hope they get more out of it. I hope they get more out of it. I hope they take away more from the game than the game take away from them. That's why every time these dudes get a big contract, when these dudes want to leave a city and go get more money, more power to you, brother. Go get your money, because they don't give a damn about you. Mess around and get injured, and you'll see how fast they don't care about you. Mess around and can't score those touchdowns, can't run that ball, can't catch that ball, can't make that tackle. And watch what happens. Go get your money, youngster. Get your money. Use them like they use you. And I'll take it further than that. You got brands out here every day that make money off of Black folks. And they don't have hardly any Black people in executive positions. And if they do, many of them experience racism. They all got stories. In every field, they got stories. They don't mind making money off of us. They'll make money off of us. These phone companies, these internet companies, these television stations that we watch, the internet, even the internet companies. Look, fam, all of them got racists at the top. All of them got racists at the top. So they don't mind using us to make a buck. We got to get used to using their asses to make a buck. That's right, I said it. We got to get used to using them to make a buck. They'll sell Black Pride t-shirts. They ain't got no problem. They'll sell t-shirts that say Black Pride, power to the blacks, black up, white down, whatever, you know what I'm saying, fam. They ain't got no problem selling the t-shirts and making them and none of that stuff. And they'll do that to make a buck. They'll do it. But we get emotional about stuff like that, and we don't want to. We don't do that. We like, nah, man, I ain't finna make no t-shirt like that, because that just ain't what I'm about, and da 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 da. Family, we got to get used to making a buck off them, the way they've been used to making a buck off us. You open up that restaurant, and this is where it gets a little sketchy. We love to say Black owned, Black owned. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. It's more them than it is us. Why not just open up the restaurant and if you got to do the same amount of work, you're doing the same amount of work, it costs you the same amount of money to buy the food, to pay for the employees, to pay for your staff. It costs you the same rent. But you're going to limit yourself. You're going to limit your customer base. If you open up a restaurant, why not sell food to whoever want to buy it? When you look at all of these restaurants across the country, Black folks can go in there and eat at them, but they're not going to hire you. They'll let you eat, but they won't hire you. So let them eat. Just don't hire them. I'm saying if that's right, if that's your, if that's how you feel about it, that's how you feel about it. Let them eat. Just don't hire them. Yeah, yeah. If you have a mechanic shop, why would you only say, "Well, I'm only going to fix. I only want to work on cars that are owned by a particular group of people, and that's it." I guess you can do that. I guess if it makes you sleep good. Now, let me back up. If that's what makes you sleep good, then that's what you should do. If that's what makes you sleep good, that's what you should do. But I'm just thinking, if I got a if I got a music station and I'm trying to get people to watch the videos, I think I call my music station music television as opposed to black entertainment television, where I only get a certain people who think that this is just for them and nobody else really want to watch it. And I can only get a certain amount of ad revenue because my station is just for black people. Now I get it. There is a lane for a station like BET. But if you're gonna start that station, why not have another station for everybody? Basically, what Viacom has today. Viacom has a station for everybody. Then they got a station called BET. They own it all. That's what I'm saying. Why not own it all? Have something that, hell, why not have a channel for everybody? Now I got me a channel for the blacks. Here's one for the whites. Here's one for the Latino. Here's one for the Asians. Then I'm going to start me a channel for the Mormons. I got one for the Christians. I got one for the business, baby. I'm talking about business. I'm not talking emotions. I'm talking business. The NFL understands business. They understand business. They got to hire those black players. They got to hire them. Now, they don't have to treat them nice. They don't have to treat them well. But if they want people to watch, if they want to watch, and the reason why I say they don't have to treat them well is because they're not fighting. You ain't got enough. They don't fight together. They don't team up to go against wrongdoings within the organization. So that's why I say, yeah, you don't have to treat them right, because who's going to take up, who's currently playing right now in the NFL, who's going to take up for Shedeur Sanders? What player out there right now that's currently playing, that's on his team or another team, is going to say, lay off my teammate, lay off the youngster, man, lay off the black man, get off the dude, man, get off the gas? Which one of them going to have the nuts to get up and say something like that? Most of them won't. Most of them will not say anything because they're just glad it's not happening to them, not understanding that if they stood up for each other, it wouldn't happen to any of them. And if it did, they wouldn't be the one who had their heads on the chopping blocks. It would be whoever the antagonist is. There's power in numbers, but there's more power in sticking together. This brings me to this case where you got a black couple out in Virginia. This black couple in Virginia who was done dirty by the people at Buffalo Wings, according to them. I'm gonna let's see how can I add this. Okay, let me add this right quick. I want y'all to check this out. Check this story out. Okay, hold on.
This ain't worth nothing. Anywho, early this morning we went to Buffalo Wild Wings. Placed the order for some large potato wedges at 1:35 a.m. The lady did not ask us for our names. We got our order, went home. We didn't eat all our wedges, so this morning we reheating our wedges, and we looked on the box. This was at Buffalo Wild Wings in Woodbridge, Virginia, store number 280. But check this out. Guess what this lady put as our names? She didn't ask our names. She took it upon herself and she put this for our names. Hold on.
Y'all see that? Niggs.
It's 2024. This lady have lost her mind. Any suggestions on what I should do? I already know what I'm going to do, but any suggestions from the TikTok world of what I should do? All the lawyers drop in right now.
Okay, so the lawsuit, it appears, has been filed, and Buffalo Wild Wings is going to have to dig deep into their pockets to pay. I'm going to tell you what needs to start happening, because people have realized that they can make these absurd gestures and get away with it. It don't cost them anything, and they're not crazy about working at Buffalo Wild Wings anyway. They can go get a job somewhere else. It ain't no big deal. So if they're having a bad day, or even if they're having a good day, just enjoying some good old racism, just a good old racist laugh, a good old racist joke in their sick minds, they know that they are not going to be held accountable personally. So what needs to start happening is people need to start suing the uncivilized mutts who write these messages on these receipts, who make these bold racist statements. They need to start going after these uncivilized mutts personally, not just going after the establishments, but they need to go after the uncivilized mutt who is at the center of the incident, because that's the way you deter bad behavior. People have to be held personally accountable. Losing a job at Buffalo Wild Wings ain't no big deal. In many cases, you can just go to another Buffalo Wild Wings. It ain't like they got no hell of a vetting process. I bet you they don't even have a system where they can go to and see if you went and got a job at the Buffalo Wild Wings up the street. They wouldn't even be able to tell that you used to work at the other one. I bet their system ain't even connected like that. So these uncivilized mutt, that uncivilized mutt, whoever that uncivilized mutt was, decided it would be a good idea to write NIGS on the receipt. I don't even see how people you got some people out there just so preoccupied with blackness. They're more preoccupied with blackness than blackness is. They're so obsessed with black folks. It is ridiculous, man. It's disgusting. And this is why I do not understand why you have some black folks who are not as obsessed with themselves. I don't see how they can't see that the same people you're trying to assemble, you're trying to be like, are obsessed with you, you dummy. They wake up and go to sleep all day, every day, just thinking about black folks. Just black people, it just triggers them. And you would think it would be the other way around. If you look at our history, if you look at the history of blacks and whites in this country, you would think that black people would be the ones writing racist slurs on the receipts. You would think that black people would be the ones walking up to white folks in neighborhoods saying, hey, what you doing around here? You live over here? You would think it would be black folks getting at the police when there's an interaction, anytime there's an interaction with the police. You would think that black people would be the ones popping off. You would think that it would be black folks who are saying that I don't want no white people in my neighborhood. We don't want them around here. If you look at the history of who killed who RAP'd who stole from who, you would think all day, every day online, you would think that it would be black folks who are always bringing drama to white folks. You would think that it would be black folks that are pulling up at white folks' house and writing racial slurs on their garage. You would think if you study the history, well, you ain't even got to study the history. You know enough history to know how it went down. And you ain't even got to go back in history. You can look at today, what's going on today. You would think that black people would be the ones waking up and going to sleep every day trying to figure out how they can subjugate white folks, how they can harm white folks. Every day, just waking up, how they can get under the skin of white folks, how they can make white people have a bad day. You would think, if you look at the history, that black folks would be the ones doing all of the antagonizing. What the hell are they mad about? They got it made around here. They got it made. What are they mad about? That's just not a way for me to live. I just don't want to live my life like that. I don't want to live every day I wake up, I'm just mad. Every day I wake up, I'm trying to figure out a way to make somebody else's day bad. I'm waking up trying to figure out a way to promote racism and leave racial slurs on my coworkers' desk. And, I got the time to go get a whole damn noose and make a noose and then chunk it to my, I ain't got that type of damn time. My brain don't even operate like that. I'm glad I'm not hateful like that. I'm glad, because that has to have some type of negative effect on your health. It has to. It has to do something to you to wake up like that every day, just jealous. And you see a person's skin color alone just triggers you. As soon as you say it, it triggers you. And again, remember who did all the murdering and all that other stuff to who? What you mad about? You ain't the one who can't remember, can't find out who your great granddaddy is because your family experienced hundreds of years of racism and your families were torn apart and sold to the highest bidder, sometimes traded for favors. You ain't the one who got a history of lynching and babies being fed to alligators and being used as heads, babies, decapitated heads being used as used to play polo. You ain't the one who have the history of fathers being forced to impregnate their own daughters for commerce, impregnate their sisters, their own mothers for commerce. You ain't got no history like that. What the hell are you that angry for? Oh, I get it. You mad because they want rights. They want to be treated like human beings. How dare them? How dare them to be wanting to be treated like, how dare him, how dare them to say what team they're going to play for and what team they're not and what they're going to accept and what they won't accept. They better be glad that they are free. They better be glad they're not just not still in slavery. When you hear about people saying, when you hear people saying that a black man is arrogant for standing up for himself or thinking too much of himself, when you hear that, what they're really saying is, you better be glad you're free. I can't stand that. Like, shut up. Okay, we freed you. Now you're talking back. Hold on. Now you're talking like a man. I don't like that. That's why you see so many of these big old dudes who work for these networks and stuff. They're big dudes. Some of these dudes 6'5", 6'7", 6'3", damn near 7 feet. Big old dudes with no backbone, spineless. Oh, they talk tough around each other. They talk tough to black people. But them little old bitty, little nerdy network executives have them shaking in their boots. And sometimes, a lot of times, they make clowns out of them, make them put on wigs like Charles Barkley, make them cross-dress. Make them put on wigs and dresses and high-heel shoes and lipstick and earrings and all that kind of stuff. So that they can feel comfortable. It's like the bigger you are, if you're black, the bigger you are, the more of the less spine that they need you to have so that they can feel comfortable, so they don't be afraid of you. You got to be big old jolly dude. You got to be jolly, really friendly. You can't come off as, because your size scares them. Your size scares them. So you got to make them comfortable. So here, put this dress on. But Charles Barkley ain't complaining. He kissed a white referee in the mouth. Well, I don't even know why I said white. It don't even matter. But he kissed a referee in the mouth I think it was during the All-Star game one year. So he'll do anything. He'll do anything for massa approval. So yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings, get ready to stroke the check. Stroke the check. Family, we got a situation where a woman was shot 10 times by her boyfriend.
I'm sorry. Shemay Pitt did not think she would survive it.
Right here, I have a bullet wound.
She says on November 2nd, in a fit of rage, her ex-boyfriend Joshua Woodruff shot her 10 times.
I see the inside of me on the outside.
Pitt tells me she agreed to meet with her ex to talk. She says that conversation turned violent and there was a struggle inside of her car.
He steps back, he steps forward, and he starts shooting me. My ears are ringing, but I come into realization that he's shooting at me.
Pitt says Woodruff then drove her from Snapfinger Road in DeKalb County to Douglasville. At one point, she says she heard Woodruff make 2 phone calls.
Basically asked them what to do with my body. I'm scared. I asked him, can I just write a letter to my son?
Pitt says Woodruff eventually abandoned her at a hospital while paramedics rushed her to another hospital in critical condition. Security detained Woodruff. Police charged the 25-year-old with aggravated assault and false imprisonment. Pitt's mother says she wants the charges upgraded.
He needs to be charged for bringing over county lines. He needs to be federally charged for having an automatic switch, which is a federal offense.
A few days ago, the Fulton County DA said Atlanta is under a domestic violence epidemic with nearly 1,000 felony cases pending. Pitt says she hopes more people in an abusive relationship will get out before it's too late.
You see that red flag? Run away.
She look a little like Lala, right? Lala Anderson. Okay, fam. You know, they often say that one of the worst times to, or the worst time in an abusive relationship is during the breakup. They say that's the worst time. And I've seen a number of times where the guy convinced the woman to have one more talk. Let me just see you. Let's talk it out. And then he pulls a gun. He starts shooting her, or he starts stabbing her. Let me just say first and foremost, I'm glad that the woman was okay. I'm glad she's okay and that she survived 10 shots. There ain't a lot of people walking around here who can say they survived 10 gunshots. So that's a strong woman. And that is a strong-willed woman. And that wasn't just her will. That was also the doctor's skills in God's favor. She had a lot of things going for her in order for her to survive 10 shots. And having said that, the dude that shot her, let me talk to y'all. Let me talk to the fellas for a minute. You know, most of us, we think we're something special. Most of us, right? Most of us, if we got a girlfriend, we think that, you know, she's lucky to have me. You know, we think that we're a good guy, right? I think I'm a good person. She think I'm a good person, you know. Obviously, we got some issues or whatever. Maybe she tired of me. She just don't want to be with me anymore. Maybe I treated her well, but she don't want to be with me. If you really believe that you're all of that and then some, why would you want to be with somebody who don't want to be with you? I won't understand that for the life of me. Why would anybody want to be with somebody that don't want to be with them? That is the first sign of insecurity. Wanting to be with somebody who don't want to be with you. I think too much of myself. And I'm not talking about Willie D with money. I'm talking about broke Willie D. I always thought that I was something special and that a woman would be happy to have me. Because I know I'm loyal, I'm solid, and I'm handsome. But anyway, fam, I ain't getting into all of that stuff. But listen, yeah, I've always thought like that for myself. And don't get me wrong, there were times, once or twice, where I was with a woman who didn't want to be with me. And I really liked her. I really wanted to be with her. But even at a young age, I realized, and I'm talking about when I say young age, I'm saying I had my first serious girlfriend when I was 17. So when I say that I was with this girl and she didn't want to be with me, in my mind, I was like, I'm messed up. It messed me up. But also I knew that I'm gonna get over this. I'm gonna get past this. And if she don't want to be with me, it don't make sense for me to want to be with her. So I'm not going to even try to talk her into being with her. I don't want to talk to her no more. You know, I don't want to try to work it out because she's already decided she don't want to be with me anymore. Usually when you're in a relationship and somebody say they don't want to be with you, it's usually because they think they can do better. They think they can do better. Now, I'm arrogant enough in my head, I'm thinking, oh, she thinks she can do better. That's why she's doing it. See, I just got some defaults that I go straight to, fam, that help me. These are life hacks that help me through these relationships. I learned this. I'm talking about I was 17 years old when I first applied this. I was like, okay, she thinks she better than me, or she thinks she can do better. All right, that's it. I went and I, don't get me wrong. I separated her. I stopped calling. I didn't call anymore. Not once. I didn't call anymore. Oh, and don't get me wrong, fam. I wanted to call. I really wanted to call and be like, please, 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 please don't. I wanted to, but my common sense wouldn't allow me to call her because I knew that women don't respect men who beg. They don't respect that. People don't respect. It's something pitiful about a person begging to be with you and you don't want to be with them anymore. It's just something pitiful about that. So I'm not going to let her see me cry. She will not see me suffer. She just won't hear from me. But what she will see me doing is succeeding. And success is the absolute best revenge. When people think that they're better than you and they can do better, man, let them go on out there and try to do better. If you're really what you think you are and who you think you are, you're going to go out there and get something better than them anyway. And plus, if they decide they want to be out of the relationship, you know, the sooner you find that out, the better. That way you don't waste any more of your time with the person. So if they don't want to be in a relationship, that frees you up so that you're available for somebody who deserves you and somebody who you deserve. We do not own one another. So when a person pull out a gun and start shooting a person because they don't want to be with them anymore, that's a person who really hates themselves. Don't matter how hard you try to act like you are, you hate yourself. You gotta hate yourself. You got to hate yourself to hate her so much that you would do that to yourself, that you would allow your actions to put you in a position to where your freedom is taken away from you. Or you put yourself in a position where, okay, now you think it's over, so let me just end it all and boom. You got to have hated yourself. I wouldn't want that on my record. When people look back and say, yeah, let's say 30 years from now, 40 years, yeah, man, that was such. Yeah, that was such son. He killed himself. Really? For what? Yeah, for over a girl. He'd be like, first thing gonna come to my mind is weakness. That's the first thing come to my mind. So it don't matter how many muscles you got. No matter how strong you are. If you kill a woman and you kill yourself because a woman left you, if you throw your life away behind a woman, you weak to me. That's weak. Ain't nothing strong about that. That's weak. And you need mental help. You need some help. Now, I'm not trying to trash you, I'm really trying to encourage you. Man, get you some help, man, before you go into these relationships. Because all of us are not prepared to be in a relationship. All of us are not equipped to be in a relationship. We don't have the coping skills to be in a relationship. We should not be in a relationship. If you have a problem struggling with your emotions when you're by yourself, entering into a relationship is only going to exacerbate things. It's going to make it harder for you. That's all that's going to happen. Your life is going to be harder adding somebody with it. If you live in a house where you're struggling to pay your bills by yourself, and you take on a partner who ain't got no money, you're already struggling. Now you got to pay for her food. You got to pay for her cell phone. You got to pay for her some new clothes because y'all can go to the concert. Y'all broke, but you got to treat yourself from time to time. So you got to pay for her some clothes to go to the concert too. You got to pay for her insurance, her doctor bills. You ain't got it like that. So the smartest thing to do is stay single until you can do it like that, if that's the way you want to do it. Most of us are not equipped to be in relationships. Most of us are not, we're emotionally injured. You got to get right first. That's why it's important, if you come out of a relationship, give yourself some time by yourself. Learn to be by yourself for a while so that you can know what it is that you like. Find some peace. Find some peace within yourself before you step into a new relationship. Find out, you'll be surprised how much you can find out about yourself when you live alone. There are people out there who have never lived alone, and it's scary as hell. Some of us, we just gotta be with somebody. I remember May said, I don't like being alone. What song was that? I can't think of the song, but May, Frankie Beverly said, I don't like being alone. Yeah. I can't think of the name of the song, but that's a hell of a song. I love that song. Can't think of the name of it right now. But yeah, some of us, we don't do well being alone. So we enter into relationships, whether we're healthy or not. And then what we end up doing a lot of times, destroying somebody else's life. If you really love a person like you say you love them, you absolutely wouldn't do anything to hurt them. Yeah. See, in relationships, oftentimes, we don't hurt the people we love. We hurt the people we should love. You feel me? We hurt the people we should love. So he shot that woman. That's not love. He didn't love that woman. He never loved her. What he probably was when he shot her, it was the possessive side of him. He's thinking, if I can't have you, nobody can. That's what that was about. If I can't have you, nobody can. You my girl, I own you. You mine. You won't do what I say do. Here, take these shots. So he didn't love her. Maybe he probably lusted for her, but he didn't love her. I'm going to tell you something too, fam, that has probably, I ain't never heard it spoken of. I've never heard anybody speak on this publicly, but let me tell you something. What happens a lot of times in relationships and why dudes are, try to harm women and why they go so crazy. And women do this too nowadays, but not as much as men. A lot of times when the relationship is over, when a woman don't want to be with a man anymore, he don't want to hurt her because he loves her. He want to hurt her because he's thinking about her doing the things to another dude that she used to do with him. Whether that's in bed or going to friends' houses, hanging out, going to the games, going to second line to the club, going to the jazz club, whatever it is. It's that part that he can't get past. This is why you got to be careful also during the holidays. It's something about these holidays. When people break up, a lot of times these fools take guns and go in and start airing it out. Because now, just like that, she's taken him out of the equation. And now she got the new dude at her mama house for Christmas. The new dude at her mama house for Thanksgiving. The new dude is doing the things that he used to do. The new dude is sitting in the seat he used to sit in. And he can't get past it. He can't get past it. Ooh, and don't let kids be involved. The new dude is driving his kids to school. Woo! Pick them carefully, man. That's all I can tell you. Pick them carefully. But if it don't work out, just remember, greater men than you and I have had to go through that process. Just remember that. Greater men than you and I have had to go through that process. If 2 lay down and 3 get up, you got to deal with it. It's as simple as that. But most people are not equipped for that. This dude put 10 bullets in that woman. That is resilience. For her to survive that, and not just survive it, she looks like she might be able to make a near full recovery. I don't know if you can ever fully recover from 10 bullets. That's a lot of bullets. That's a lot of holes. So I don't know if she could ever fully recover from that, but I wish her well and absolutely hope that she have a speedy recovery. Going into the comments. China Carter, what up? What's up, John Guillory? Spencer Clark says, hopefully a better man comes along and they live happily ever after. X-Man, what up? And happy Thanksgiving, fam. If I forget to tell y'all tomorrow, happy Thanksgiving for those of you who celebrate such a thing. I know everybody don't celebrate. I don't celebrate no pagan holidays, man. Don't be telling me no happy Thanksgiving, man. You're going to make me hurt something. Yeah, so if you celebrate such a thing, you know, happy Thanksgiving. You know, if not, happy Thursday. You see, now we all even. Uh-oh, what did I do? Uh-oh, hold on. What happened? There we go. Yeah. Tony Bonds. What's up, Lance Stop? What it do? What it do? What it do? Mouthpiece. Mouthpiece extraordinaire. What's up? What's up, Paul Norwood? Paul Norwood. What else we got here? So it looks like Celeste Rivas has a grand jury reportedly investigating the apparent homicide. So they are getting close to bringing charges. Yeah, they're getting close. They're getting close to bringing charges against singer David. He somebody got mad about it when I said it, when I spoke on it the other day. They got mad about me saying that Buddy is that I think that Buddy is guilty, but if I put myself in the shoes of the family, that's the logical conclusion for me. But that girl was 15 years old, and she was living with a 20-year-old man. She is found in the trunk of that 15-year-old man's vehicle, chopped up, while he's out on the road performing. He receives a phone call that a body is in the trunk of his vehicle, and he doesn't pull the plug on the tour. He keeps performing. Several days later, it's revealed that the body in the trunk of the car is his girlfriend, Celeste Rivas, and he doesn't pull the plug on the tour. He continues to tour. And then they decide, hey, we got a warrant to search your house. And finally, he decides to postpone the tour. This was not only a horrible act, but it was a horribly executed act. If let's say he is, if it's determined that he had some involvement in Celeste's death, how do you or anyone that you employed to harm Celeste, how do you put the body in the trunk of your own damn car? This is going to be a wild case. This case might play out like Helter Skelter, because this dude was fascinated about stories of death. Absolutely fascinated. He even had a video where he put a body in the trunk of a car. Believe you me, that's going to play out in court. This is going to trial. I can't see him confessing. I think this is going to trial, because if he confessed, his life is pretty much over. If he goes to trial, he might have a shot. He might have a shot. It just depends on what type of evidence they actually have. You know, when you got money in this country, you got money, you got loan paper, you can afford really, really good representation. So that's to be determined. But from where I sit, Buddy looked guilty to me. He looks guilty. Wild case. Wild case right there. Still trying to figure out what's up with the parents. You know, what's up with those parents who just, they filed a missing persons case, but they knew that she had a boyfriend named David. And they it didn't seem to me like they went out of their way to find her when she went missing. They put out a police report. I saw, a missing person flyer, but it didn't look like to me that they went out of their way to find her. And that's probably because she didn't want to be found. She was a runaway. She grew up in a tumultuous relationship. Yes, it's a crazy, crazy story right there. Crazy story. Got another crazy story. I don't know if y'all are familiar with this guy family, but we got a guy who is a TikTok star, Marquette the Goat. Get him up here. To get rid of some of this stuff. Let's see. Yeah. So this guy right here. This guy's 21 years old. A lot of youngsters losing their lives. A lot of youngsters, 24 years old. This is Marquay the GOAT. Call himself Marquay the GOAT. And this is breaking news, fam. Marquay Collins, a TikTok star who posted food reviews and fast cars, is dead. He was known as Marquay the GOAT on social media. Marquay's mother said that her son died recently, though the cause of death is unclear. Marquay's mom, Sonia, is remembering him as the sweetest person. He didn't have a mean bone in his body, according to his mother, Sonia. So they haven't released a cause of death. Marquay has 6.9 million followers on TikTok and another 479,000 on Instagram. An obituary online says Marquay was not only a talented artist on TikTok, but also a student at Georgia State University and a proud graduate of Shaw High School and Diamond Elementary. The Orbit says Marquay lived his life with passion and ambition. He was full of excitement about the future, always eager to share his plans and adventures, his hugs, his laughter, and his spontaneous calls. What are we getting into this weekend? Will be remembered as a cherished moments that captured his vibrant personality. Marquay was 24 years old. 24 years old. A lot of youngsters have been losing their lives. Also a lot of influential youngsters, but 24 years old. Yeah, that's young. 24. Check on your youngsters, fam. Like, you got to check on them. This dude seemed like he had it all, right? He appeared to have had it all. He appeared, to have had it all, right? He got 6 million followers on TikTok, another 400 and some thousand on Instagram. He got the fame, he got the notoriety. So I don't want to jump to conclusions because these youngsters sometimes, it's a natural cause, but oftentimes it's suicide. Oftentimes it's drug overdose. And in fact, most of these cases are drug overdose and suicide. But check on the youngsters, fam. Check on them. They ain't always straight. Check on the strong people in your life, the people that who you think that might be all right. Check on them because they need support too. The strong people need support too. This youngster seemed like he had everything going for himself. This is why oftentimes too, fam, you got to be careful about these, dropping these posts about career goals and, looking at what somebody else got going on and wanting to be them. I'm sure a whole lot of youngsters out there wanted to be Marquay. I'm sure they wanted to be in his shoes. They wanted all of the good, but you think they want the bad right now? It's bad right now. Marquay is dead. You think they want that? I bet you can't. I bet I can't name one person. Nobody can name one person who would want to trade with him right now. So you got to take the good with the bad. You got to take the bad with the good. So all of those people that wanted to be like him, wanted to be in his shoes, now you got to think about what was it really like in his shoes. See, you only can see what was going on the outside. You only see the outside. You only see the part that he showed you. But I'm willing to bet something disturbing what's going on with him. And that's the part that those fans didn't see, those followers didn't see. But then again, some of them may have seen it because I never followed them. So some of them may have seen that another side of him that was, not consistent with healthy living. Some of them may have seen that and still thought to themselves, man, I'll take that. Just give me the money. That's cool with me. I just want the money. I want the money. Yeah, Yeah, it's a lot come with that money. Same thing with people in Hollywood. Same thing with people that have jobs in Congress. Yeah, you want to get appointed to this job where people go to school for 20 years and they go to school and train, and it takes the average person 20 to 30 years to get in this position. You fresh out of college and you getting into this position, you're going to have to give up something to get that type of stuff. Yeah, you're going to have to give up something to get that. So you got to take the bad with the good. I will say condolences to his family, and also condolences to his friends and fans, because there are some real ones out there, I'm sure, that was rocking with dude for real. And so, like I say, we don't know, what the cause of death was, but whatever it was, R.I.P. Marquay. Marquay the GOAT. Yeah. Marquay the GOAT. Dead at 24. That's my time, fam. I appreciate y'all joining live. I'm going to give a few more shout outs before I go. Connie, Amazing Love, Lance, Marlon Reed, Buckhorse 10, Spoken P9F. All money ain't good money. Let's stop right there. No more talk.